going to talk a little bit about a show that came out in the early 2000s that I never heard of before this, called Deadwood. Now, roast me in the comments. That's fine. I don't think we had HBO back in the day, but even if I did, this kind of wouldn't be my thing when I was younger, so I certainly like it now. So the show is set in the late 1800s, revolving around the characters of Deadwood, South Dakota, a town of deep corruption and crime. This is starring Tim Oliphant and Keith Carradine, who is he's many things in many movies throughout probably the last 40 years, but I most notably remember him from Dexter as Frank Lundy, Special Agent Frank Lundy from seasons 2 and 4. Why don't we get started with Deadwood, and I'll just give my first impressions, and then typically Westerns aren't my thing, but I really did enjoy the setting, and the first episode to me was all about character building.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything major happening except towards the end of the movie. There's, your bar setting and gambling and prostitutes and all the usual hits that you want in your Westerns. And there's the the main guy he's in a ton of shit too. He's the master guy in John Wick. He's like the guy who leads all the hitmen or whatever. He's the pimp, and his whole goal, even though there's a big scene happening out of town that a big massacre, he's like, well, I don't want people to stop buying whores, so let me go and give a discount. So it's that kind of vibe. So I'll hand it over to you.
So I started watching this because I loved Justified, and Timothy Oliphant just carries that show. And so I was like, oh, this one stars Timothy Oliphant. I'm watching this one. Tim does good on this. I like his character, but Al is the one that carries this show. Like, he starts off, I think they started him off as a more minor character, but then he just he takes over the show, and then it really turns into into Al the murdering pimp, / real estate mogul. But I mean, the show starts off so heavy. Like, one of the first scenes is, in order to avoid having this guy, I guess they were going to torture him, maybe. I don't know. It starts off with Timothy Oliphant as a marshal, and he's got a prisoner on his, he's got a prisoner in there, and the prison is surrounded by all these guys with guns saying, "Get him out here. We're not waiting for tomorrow morning for the justice." That's 8 hours away. I'm drunk now. So to keep the quote unquote law from being misapplied, he has to hang the guy with no drop. The first major scene is he's got a shotgun in one hand, and then he has to lift the guy up and hang him just with his shoulder, I guess. And the guy is terrified, I guess, of being tortured before he dies, because he willingly goes along with being hung by the marshal. I mean, I feel like you would just not cooperate and hope that those guys are so drunk they pass out or something. I don't know. They're not really clear what he's scared of, but it is an otherwise brutal scene. So Timothy leaves all of that and goes to a nice, safe place called Deadwood, where we immediately see how, beat a hooker. And it's pretty brutal. And then we go into sort of almost it's not as good as Game of Thrones, but it's like a Game of Thrones Western or Gold Rush town. So there's all sorts of stuff going on here. These two guys, including Tim, are trying to set up a general store in this really, really rough Gold Rush town. This rich kid's being hustled out of his gold. There's clearly a scam going on where they're planting gold for him to find. One of the guys messes up the negotiations to stab this guy because they're trying to cover for it. Because if you steal too much money, the Pinkertons come and start shooting you. There's a fake Indian attack with white people being scalped. The series has such great characters because some of them are eloquent. There's this small throwaway scene where this guy in a suit's talking about how we are soon going to be welcome back into the bosom of America when we get our statehood. And some guy across the room is like, "Does bosom mean tit?" It's full of cursing and questionable titties and violence, and there's shit everywhere. They feed a guy to some pigs. And the best line is when Al gives this big speech about, we can't let this go unanswered. So get sobered up and ride out there tomorrow morning and make them pay. Pussy is half price for the next 15 minutes. there's like 100 things going on in a 1 hour episode, and they all seem to be separate, but like through the series, they combine and split out like you're in a town. Like everyone has their own life and they're kind of bouncing off each other. I don't want to say it's complex or complicated, but there's a lot going on.
Yes.
So you're gonna lose track of characters that are gonna come back. You'll be like, what's this guy doing back here? The Doctor is really minor in this one, but he turns into a full-fledged character as the series goes on. But like only when people are sick. And I mean, I absolutely love this show. This is one of my favorite shows. The acting in it is like 9 out of 10, and you're not gonna find this level of acting in a Western. So it's I think Westerns don't get a lot of attention because most of them are really corny. Like the most famous Western is is Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke ran for like 25 years, and it's just like the corniest thing ever. But this has all of the stereotypes, but they're fleshed out. Just like a really good show about New York is gonna have like an Irish police officer, but he's not just an Irish police officer. He's gonna be like an alcoholic who like owes money to a mobster, you know?
Yeah.
You take the cardboard cutouts from other movies that you're familiar with, and then you make a full complex character out of it. And I love it. This show is all about the characters, and they're really good.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're not watching this, I don't know what to tell you. You are missing out. There are way worse shows. This show is better than The Wire. I'm throwing that out there. It's better than The Wire. I liked it more than Breaking Bad. Come at me.
The Wire, another show I've never seen. Before I judge it like versus other things, I'm gonna watch more than just one episode, but I'm definitely gonna watch more episodes. So I enjoyed what I saw. That first episode had me. If it's an episode where you're starting to get into it and you start to care about some of these characters, like whether it's for positive or negative reasons is irrelevant, but it was enjoyable. So
yeah, you don't watch Breaking Bad because you really want Walter to get everyone hooked on meth, but you're still like, let's go, Walter. Like,
yeah,
like and the same thing happens with several other characters. Like, oh man, I wonder how this. Oh man, there's an enemy pimp. We're going to have to kill all of his hookers. You know, it's like,
yep.
Like it is a dark show, but like it's a dark place. Yeah, you want to go watch Lollipops and Sunshine, you go watch PBS. Arthur also has really good characters, but he doesn't smack enough hoes.
All right, on that note, we will catch you guys later.
Until next time.